Well, Vicky's passing out a couple things there. I just have one shout out. First of all, my friend David Benson is here, and he and I go back 20-some years working on renewable energy projects for a long, long time. And I guess I would challenge you to find anybody who has more of a passion for rural issues and rural sustainability. And I've always treasured his work that he's done with Extension and so many other things as a county commissioner and other things in southwest Minnesota. So thank you for being a part, David. How many of you know where Kathy Drager lives? How many of you knew that before you got here today? How many of you know that she's probably one of the biggest promoters of Big Stone County that you will find? Exactly. If you've read any of her blogs or websites, Facebook, you know she does a great job of promoting our area, so thank you for that too. Well, as you know where she's from, because of her, we know what Extension does, and of course, she made sure that we knew that this tourism assessment program was going on. So we thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the assessment program, and thank you for your efforts with Extension as well. So, Big Stone County, Clinton-Graceville-Beardsley is in western Minnesota. If you go down the state, it's pretty straight. Hit the bump. We're the southern half of the bump.
It's loaded on there if you wanted the PowerPoint.
Oh, you want it? Do you have a PowerPoint?
Yeah, we had just done a basic starter, and then I'm going to go to the website and see it. So.
Okay.
He kept looking at me, so I think he thought I wasn't there.
You said put the chair up here, and you were going to come and sit. So.
My part.
All right.
Now we have to get the computer going again.
Well, anyway, you know where we're located at. We're on the other shores of the Great Glacial Lake, on the opposite shores of where Houston was that you heard about previously. So this part of the state also has ridges and lakes and glacial moraines and other things that were left behind when the lake receded as well. And also it is the watershed divide from where the water flows to the north or flows to the south. So you have Big Stone Lake, which comes up the southern half of the bump, and you have Lake Traverse that goes up the northern half of the bump, and the water flows north out of Traverse and south out of Big Stone. Also close by is the Continental Divide that sheds between the east and the west. So it's a fairly interesting part of the state. The communities of Clinton, Graceville, and Beardsley, it was really easy picked to look for communities that would work together because they're consolidated as the schools and work together well in a variety of things. And so it was just a natural fit for us to work with that group. Somewhat sad to know that you're looking for communities of under 1,500, and even when we put those three together, we're well below that 1,500 threshold. That was their limit. So Big Stone County itself only has a little over 4,000 people in the whole county. It's a very rural area. So some of the things that we learned through this process, again, Ryan came out and David, and they helped us put together a team to do this project, and the team worked very well together. Really good interaction and meetings, and you know, some of the things that we learned was the local resident perception of tourism in our area is different when they think about our area versus other areas. So what they perceive as tourism when they travel, they don't perceive that same thing necessarily when they look at tourism in our home area. What they like to do when they travel isn't necessarily what they think people are going to want to do when they come to our area, nor are they the kinds of things that they look for in our area to do themselves. The other thing that we found out was that the people who move back to our area or move to our area from another community are the ones that are the most creative about what tourism assets are available. They see more things with fresh eyes. And so we learned that people who grew up there take a lot of things for granted and just kind of look past a lot of the things that other people find very interesting in our communities. So the process helped us gain a better understanding of the perceptions of our community strengths and what people want to promote. And one of the questions that we asked is what draws people to our area. Why would people not only want to tour here, but what would encourage them to live in our area? And people keep referring to this statement called quality of life. And when we ask the question, what does that mean? What is quality of life? People stretch to find answers to that question. What is quality of life? Because if I asked each one of you, you would probably come up with a different idea of what that means. It was very difficult to try and just say, we're going to promote our quality of life. And that was one of the questions that we wrestled with. The other and last thing that we found, and I know you all have this person living in your community. Somebody oughta, right? When I find them, I got a long list of stuff for them to do. Okay? And so every time we would ask the question, well, we would come up with some great ideas and, yeah, somebody ought to do that. Somebody ought to do that. That would be really good. Somebody ought to do it. So that's kind of what we're trying to overcome a little bit as well. Did you take the clicker?
I just clicked for you.
Oh, remote clicking. Okay, so the community was invited to our kickoff meeting after the tourism assessment was done. We had kind of a coming out session, if you will, of the results of the assessment. Big Stone Area Growth is the countywide economic development group. We had this kickoff session at their annual meeting, actually, and invited the general public to come and had specifically invited some other members of the community to come. Had a very good, I think, meeting that day. Ryan was there, David, I think, was there, and went very well. So out of that, then we formed a committee of folks that would work on moving this tourism assessment program forward. We came up with a list of action items: maps, kiosk, advertising, attraction, development, improvement. That's the kind of if you build it, they will come thing, or if you've already built it, make it better, and then they'll come. And then collaboration with some existing groups. Then we prioritize some things: website, kiosk, signage, general advertising, the where to stay, where to eat, where to hunt, complete inventory of things to do with the community assets. And I don't have that list with us. We're working on compiling that. We have a pretty good compilation already. We've been busy with some of the other things that we'll talk about here in just a minute before we're able to go live with that community asset inventory. One of the things that we did decide to do, though, on the front end was, it's called a door-to-door survey here, but really what we wanted to do was survey the frontline people at businesses. There was a comment made earlier, I think you were saying how, if somebody stops at your convenience store and says, what's there to do in town? You'd like for that person to have an answer, right? So we needed to find out if they did have any answers and what their perceptions of tourism were. So we wanted to go to not just what you would consider frontline, like convenience stores, but we went to grocery stores, we went to bars and restaurants and other places to ask them several questions so we could get some general feedback. So this is a little bit tough to read from back there. So the tourism questions that we asked, in fact, it's tough to read from up here. Yeah. Do you know where people are from? Do you know where people are from that are visiting your community? Well, that was, a lot of people just kind of shrugged their shoulders. I don't know. Where are they from? Twin Cities, Chicago. We had a couple people from Texas. We had some Canadians, eh? And apparently Norway once in a while comes through. So that was really interesting to just kind of get a feel for whether they actually knew where tourism people were coming from. And when you would say, well, what about people from Morris? Are they tourists to your area? Well, I don't know. Maybe. Okay, so do you know why they're visiting the area? What do you suppose the number one reason was why people are visiting our area?
Lost.
Yeah, they're lost, yeah. Thanks, David. Family, weddings, funerals, family, right? That was number one. What would be number two? Recreation, yep, hunting and fishing primarily. Let's forget about any other recreation that we might do, but we hunt, we fish, right? How would you respond if someone were to ask you, what is there to do in Clinton, in Graceville, in Beardsley? And so when we were doing these, we asked this specifically for their community. This gets back to your point. We had such a wide diversity of responses to this, from the basic nothing. There's nothing to do. Yeah, well, teenagers to early 20s, and quite frankly, we even had a few older people say, nothing. Really nothing to do. On the other spectrum, we had people that couldn't stop talking about what there was to do. And we didn't even ask Kathy. Your cohort was pointing at you from behind. No, but we had a couple people, one bartender in particular, that just went on and on and on about all the school activities and the recreational activities and the summer festivals and the clubs and organizations. And it was great. It was great. Vicki was taking notes like crazy. She couldn't keep up with them. Wow, those are the people you really want to harness, right? So what's there to, and follow that up, what's there to do in the area? Okay. What types of recreation or amenities do people most frequently ask you about? And responses varied quite a bit, but mostly fishing and hunting, primarily fishing. Okay? And this was a real interesting question. What do you do for entertainment or recreation or enjoyment in this area? And we got a lot of interesting responses for that. We got fishing, and we got hunting, and we got really nothing. Okay? So when you and this was kind of the dichotomy to that. When you travel, what types of things do you look for in the communities that you go to? What are you looking for? Well, there we got a whole, I look for parks for my kids, I look for golf, I look for, fishing, hunting, I look for trails, I look for camping. So they're thinking about all the stuff that they look for when they go somewhere else, but they don't necessarily relate that to what people are looking for when they come here. And then, do you have any ideas on how we could better promote the community and this area? And again, it ranged quite a bit from, I don't know, to kiosks, websites, better promotional materials, billboards, the whole gamut. So that was kind of the base of the tourism. Do we have the second page here?
We were doing broadband things.
At the same time that we were working on this tourism thing, we were working on broadband and broadband enhancement for Big Stone County, because we feel, even though Some don't. We feel that we're underserved in this area and want to make some improvements to our broadband. And because, as you've already talked about, broadband and tourism are becoming more and more closely linked every day. So we know if we want to enhance tourism, we have to have adequate broadband capacity. So we asked, does your business use the internet? If yes, how are you using the internet? Who's your provider and are you satisfied? If not satisfied, what improvements do you want? And then this one is tourism related. Do visitors ask about internet accessibility at local businesses or within the community? And a lot of them said that people don't ask, but then they would say, we see people driving around town and parking in front of houses, and we know that they're looking for a Wi-Fi site. So, pardon?
In front of Main Street Industries.
Yeah, well, that's one of them that nobody even mentioned, but, you know, there's the libraries and there's other places that sometimes you can get it, sometimes you can't. But, yeah, the unsecure home networks, there's, you know, I mean, you will see people from time to time parked in front of a house. Yeah, and actually somebody was pirating Vicky's when they signed on. They got onto Vicky's hotspot up from her phone in here today. And so then we asked, well, do you know where the open Wi-Fi sites are in your community? And that is a specific tourism thing, and certainly that's something that we're going to work on with our communities. So that was kind of the survey that we did. Few things that we focused on as a result of that was a things to do list to be posted or have available in each business, so that when you have that teenager working at the convenience store checkout register, they have a list that they can give up to somebody that says, here's the things to do in this area, so they don't have to be stumped by that question. The other thing we were going to do with those is post them in the restrooms, where people have nothing else to do, right? Other than to read. Well, they have something else to do, but you get the idea, right? They're a captive audience at that point in time. So we want to post them there, and hopefully the communities and the businesses will keep those up as time goes on. They'll be laminated, don't worry, it'll be good. We want to have, you know, large billboard type signs at gas pumps, or even this list posted on the gas pump. Another place where, you know, now there's TV screens and other things in certain gas pumps that you can watch while you're filling up. But, you know, just little guerrilla marketing, things like that, that we didn't spend a lot of time thinking about previously, that kind of came out from these conversations. Road signs, better signs directing people to where things are in the communities, working with MnDOT to try and enhance some of our visibility. And then we're very fortunate to have Vicki involved with our team, because she is a marketing extraordinaire when it comes to websites, videos, YouTube, and things like these QR codes added to some of the signs and literature and other things that we're working on. So that's kind of where we've been at, and some of the things that we're focusing on. What's the next slide, Vicki? Okay, so the one thing that we really wanted to focus on, and Vicki, God bless her, took this on and said, I can do that. We wanted to establish, and we talked about this a lot at Big Stone Area Growth on a county-wide basis, we don't necessarily have an identity. So when you say, where's Big Stone County? Well, you know, it's in western Minnesota. It's in west central Minnesota. It's in southwest Minnesota. It's over on the state line. You know where Minnesota bulges right there? That's where we're at. Wow. Let's capitalize on that. Let's start talking about it as the bump. And so Vicki came up with this MN bump website and vision and has run with that. And I'm going to turn it over to her, and she can talk about the exciting things that she's doing with this.
I am going to hopefully bring up the image here. It's not coming up. Oh, do I have, okay. I'm gonna
Oh,
go ahead.
while she's working on that, I don't know if she's going to talk about it or not, but next to the CGB communities that we talked about is Big Stone Lake. The DNR recently restocked Big Stone Lake with sturgeon, which is the first time that they've tried this in the lake. Apparently it was native to the lake at one point in time, died out. They're trying to restock it again. And Vicki, if you ever want to go watch it on YouTube, she has a really interesting video about them coming out and stocking the lake with sturgeon, which are a really interesting prehistoric fish. So.
Okay, so my part was they wanted website. And we have a chamber website, and a chamber website is members only. And we're smaller communities, and so we're not promoting everybody because you can never actually get everybody to pay membership and to go on to do a website. So basically what we are doing is we're creating, and we want to talk about getting more people involved. We want people to take an ownership for this, so this isn't a project that just kind of starts now. We're going to be blogging. And so the basic of the site is going to be the what to do, hunting, fishing, camping, those types of things, where to eat. We have a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a Twitter account. Any business in Big Stone County that has a Twitter account, I include them on a Twitter feed on our front page so they know that if they have an account, they'll be advertising. Our business listing is not what your basic business listing would be. I purposely have kept it basic, so if you want to... Am I cutting everything off? Well, I'm having a nice view right here. Okay, thank you. Okay, so, you know, when you go to a chamber site, you see the business, and it's got their information, it's got their phone number, and a couple of pictures. Well, part of what I would like to see that would help us, everyone market, is for everyone to be online. So I have, well, and there's a view from here. I wonder who that is. So I want to have everyone to have their own website. I don't care if it's a Facebook page for a business. I will link it to that. They can have a Google business listing. Minnesota Extension helps us set up those types of things, and actually we're going to be starting social media breakfasts and teaching more businesses how to do those things. But so here businesses can look and they can see they're listed, but if they want their information, they're going to have an online place to go. And if they all have an online place to go, it will naturally market us more. And so our office does help them set up a free WordPress site. My website that I have here is WordPress. It's just the free WordPress site. Well, this one in particular isn't free. I did the masking for the MN bump, but the rest of them will be the free sites, and we are going to have bloggers at each community. Big Stone Area Growth, the countywide EDA, has agreed to do a basic pay for, we want to find somebody that's definitely for that community. You know, who's somebody that's just really excited about Clinton, really excited about Graceville? You know, who's really excited about that? And then we want to pay them to blog. And I want to have a blogger in each one where I can train them on how to use the blog. And not only then, we're getting more communities part of it. It's not just, you know, somebody at the office is now going to blog about this in Clinton or Graceville. You have someone really excited about that community blogging, and it's going to get them excited about it. And it'll also help maintain this long term. I retire and go away, and I'm not with MN Bump anymore, or I'm not doing Ortonville. All of these bloggers are going to know just as much about this WordPress sites as I do, and they can easily take over. You won't be left wondering, what if that one person leaves? How are we going to keep this going? So it's getting more people involved. We're going to have one Facebook page for everyone. So everyone that has a blog will be able to administer the Facebook page. And one thing we did, I went on Facebook before I opened up the site. We're not really ready for the site to go, but I've had people giving me input on the business listings for things that I might be missing. And although Clinton-Graceville and Beardsley, this is their focus, this will be for the whole county. And one thing nice about this is the smaller communities in Big Stone County, I don't know about other counties, but sometimes politics kind of comes into play, and it's who takes ownership of what. And Ortonville does a number of different things, and it's just really been nice that it's Clinton-Graceville-Beardsley that is moving this forward. This is something that they're contributing and leading within our county, and it brings a little more pride and a little more input, because this is something they're putting out and they're helping the rest of the county. So that was really neat. So what we're going to do, I went on Facebook just for fun, and I just wrote, nominate a restaurant in Big Stone County, and then I will post on our MN Bump Facebook page that, and everyone can put on there what they really like to eat there. And actually, for us not advertising the site or anything, we had, I'd have to go into my Facebook page and stuff, but we had actually a number. I would post a picture then of who they nominated, because I had pictures of the places. Actually, one I didn't. They had just recently reopened in Clinton, so that was actually the first one that was nominated. So it was before lunch. So I ran up, took a picture, went in and had lunch, and I came back and I reported. I reported on it, and then people had fun saying what they've eaten there and what they really like. Well, then what I did is I took that information that they were having fun on, and now every time they post and have fun, that's actually putting this area out on the internet. So other people are seeing these fun exchanges in our area, and they're getting reviews on local restaurants. So the limit in Clinton was one of the first ones that was, and let's see, where did I have to sign. I don't have to. Okay, so here's what it was. So I put, thank you, Angela, for getting this started. And I went and took pictures of the restaurant. Then I went up there, and all of these people were commenting on what they really liked. And you have to realize that I just decided to do this one day. I did not advertise I'm going to be doing this. I just decided I was going to do it that day, and I posted it on a couple different Facebook pages, and people had a great time with it. And another one in Odessa went just crazy. That's all comments of people saying what they like to eat at this place. And it was really fun. But it actually shows that if you engage the people, they want to help these businesses. So this is a way they can support them by saying what they like. And while they're having fun doing this, we're advertising our area. And what we're doing is we're getting the local people excited about this site and a part of it. So the goal for this site was, it's kind of our foundation for everything of the planning that we've been doing. It's the foundation of getting people involved, so it's not one person's thing or this group's thing. Everyone does. I had Mary Tafe in Ortonville. She's a local photographer, walks every day. She just loves going out. She sent me an email and she said, I take pictures every day in Ortonville. Would you like to use some on the MN Bump site? I said, sure. So she sent me some, and then on each picture, I put Mary Tafe, just so she got recognition for that. She's thrilled. Other people have put on, I just did this the other day, other people, and then I shared it on my Facebook page, and other people are, wow, this is a great idea, I love that place, and it involves people. So if they're involved, it's their site, and that is the focus of this, and I gave you a little handout. YouTube, one thing that we're going to be doing with YouTube, people, I was going to see did you bring the YouTube video onto here? Or no? Tourism survey, KDIO, okay. We'll see how that plays. I'm going to work with the local, in this case I worked with the local radio station.
A cooperative effort between the South Dakota Game, Fish, and Parks and the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources could result in the return of a large prehistoric fish that once roamed the border waters of Big Stone Lake. We talked with Chris Domeyer, who is one of the assistant managers at the DNR Fisheries office in Ortonville. Chris told us that Norm Haukus, retired fisheries manager, was one of the folks who was instrumental in getting the sturgeon back into Big Stone Lake.
Just let you watch a few more minutes.
The day has arrived. Last week we got a call, late last week, from Genoa National Fish Hatchery. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service was raising these fish all summer. Norm went out and helped take the eggs this spring.
The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources obtained the eggs from fish in the Wisconsin River. Minnesota and South Dakota, along with the Citizens for Big Stone Lake, partnered in the cost of the fish.
Wisconsin DNR graciously did the egg take, so it's been a pretty good partnership. And they've been
You'll see a close-up
feeding
one, and then
taking
I'll
care
put
of them over Genoa,
They're actually
which
kind
is
of interesting.
down by La Crosse, southeast of the city's away, south, kind of across the river from Winona, a little bit south of that yet. And they called and said, the sturgeon are ready. We would like you folks to come next week and get them. So Jeff Malzahn, one of our technicians, is with a load of a 4,000 little baby lake sturgeon, and we will be getting them into the...
So anyway, what that is something that we can do for little expense. A lot of times you have somebody come in and they're going to come in with a crew and they're going to videotape something so you can use these to advertise your area. This came about with Julie at KDIO, has a son, and I said, hey, Julie, are you going to go out and watch them release that sturgeon? And she said, yeah. And I said, I'll grab my camera and come along. So I just grabbed my camera, and while we were waiting for them to set up, I filmed some different things. And she does a news story all the time. That's what she does on the radio. So she did a news story, and I said, would you just email me that news story? I'm going to put my video and some pictures with it, and we will put it on. It's been viewed just under 1,300 times. People loved it. The DNR actually called and said, can we use that on our site? And it was like, yeah, sure. At the end of it, I have KDIO. I put their logo on there. But this is a way that, and I've told KDIO, we want some of those news stories for our MN bump and marketing our area. I don't care if you sell advertising, because it needs to be a collaboration. Sell advertising to put on there. I will put their logos on the video, but they will be hosted on the MN Bump YouTube channel. And she's like, sure. So I talked to our local newspaper in Ortonville. We do have one in Clinton, and I haven't talked to them too. And I said, when you do stories, are you interested in doing something like this? I said, I can either narrate it or you can, but then we want it for our MN Bump. So it's really a reasonable way to put stories like these online, and it doesn't cost us a lot of money because we really don't have a lot of money. So anyway, that's how we plan on using our YouTube channel. I have a youth group from a church that's going to do a mural project, and they want to raise money. I told them we'll do a video of you doing the things. Anyone that sponsors, they can have their videos on there. We can do things like that, and it'll go on the MN Bump YouTube channel. So it helps us, it helps the community, and people love to look at a video. They have an Abbey one that I put together with KDIO, and how many times had that one been viewed? That was 23. Yeah, it was more. So anyway, they go really well. So pictures and video and getting people involved. So this isn't this group's project. This is our county project. And so it's working with those things and training people so that there's never a blip because somebody leaves. So that is, our next step is to get our full resource information on the site. But right now, while we're doing those types of things, I'm doing setting up the site and getting people involved. And I'll see if there was anything else. So right now, yes, while we're completing our inventories and putting those things on, we're engaging residents and promoting businesses, marketing. Our hope is, one of my next Facebook things is going to be, within the next week or so, putting a post on as far as shopping for Christmas. You know, what's a unique gift you can find in Big Stone County, and get people to reply and then put it on there? Because there's a lot, I mean, when I say every business, I mean if you're a home jewelry store place, those are all businesses, and we want them listed on here. So we're really excited about involving everyone, and the focus on this was tourism, and I consider tourism anyone that's passing by, and we can get them to stop. So a quick touch on the QR code part, which is our next. When you flip over that sheet that I gave you, the QR codes, and a lot of people, a lot of travelers will know what that means, but a lot of people still won't know what that means. Any place we have a QR code will come with a little instruction on how to use it, but you just take your smartphone up, and as soon as it catches that QR code, it will take you on the internet wherever. If you wanted to have them at a welcome sign when you're coming into Clinton, Minnesota, they can click on that, and you can decide what you want on that first page of your blogger's website that will have a little summary of things like the depot that's, you know, down on Main Street, and just over here, some quick things people could look at. If you have an historic building on Main Street, you can put a QR code in the window, and make sure that, you know, we're going to have it so when you come through Big Stone County and you see our QR code and you've come through a couple of times, you recognize that as information. Maybe it's a working with the museum, because I have worked with them in the past, work with them on putting together a video on the history of that building and who's been in it and what did it look like. And by hitting that code, you'll go right to our YouTube channel, to that video. So these are the things that we're working on, and while we're working on it, we're trying to engage the county. And actually, I think we've started to do a really good job of engaging people, and they seem to be excited about the MN Bump site and doing those types of things. So, and then I've got lots of things written down, and I know Vince knows I can talk about this forever. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, but that's the project. And we actually consider this the foundation. The report that was given to us through this is, to me, like a comprehensive plan that our committee can continually work on. I mean, it's our go-to piece as far as, okay, we've got this basic down. Now when we look at tourism, what's a next step that we can look to expand or to do and to work on it in sections? But I'm looking at that as more a living document. So anyhow, any questions? Everybody just wants me to quit talking?
So how are you promoting the MinBump website?
What we're doing right now, I was really hopeful that the county commissioners would go with the regional tourism and be part of that, but we're not quite there yet. But right now, KDIO has a very active Facebook page for smaller communities. They've got about 1,000 likes. When we post things on there, people see it. I'm usually on the I'm on the radio once a month anyway, and sometimes more. And I talk about it, and people can go on there. And so right now we're focusing with our residents, but once we, like I said, have this, the basics down, and we're communicating and naturally marketing, then we'll move more into the how do we focus to market over here. But we do have an active chamber. They're working with us on this, and I do their website. So anytime I want to post something on their website about something that's going on with MN Bump, I do. And I do the City of Ortonville's website. I have an Ortonville EDA website. So I put all of those together. And I know somebody had said they were calling and they were going to talk to me about a website, and they didn't know me, and they said to somebody else, oh, I see somebody else has a website here and here. Should I call them also? And they just laughed and said, well, no, that's Vicki too. But it gives us it gives us more of an illusion of more things going on, and that's why I want the businesses to get more involved in doing their own. So it creates action that catches people's eyes online. So that's what we've been working on.
Great, thank you.